Hi everyone. In this video, we're going to start by briefly reviewing Wile E. Coyote's baseline REC-CAP results summary. We will go into more detail about the REC-CAP assessment itself, how to score it, how to interpret it as part of your measure, plan, and engage training later on. But for now, we're just going to review some of the high-level overview areas so we can really focus on why sourcing and adding events is so important to the recovery care planning process inside of the ARM system. So the first thing to point out is that subdomains are color-coded to highlight the strengths and the barriers so that you know what areas need to be focused on and what can be deployed as strengths to meet their goals. We do this using a traffic lighted system. Any areas in green scored high. This is effectively a list of the assets the client has that should be used to build the recovery capital and to address and meet their personal goals. Any areas in yellow scored medium. Now, these are areas that are neither a strength nor a problem and will only become the focus once the goals are met and there are no more red areas on the client score profile. Any areas in red scored low. These are areas that need to be addressed as soon as possible, ideally using the strengths that have been identified, but they may also need additional assertive linkage through your program. As we can see here, Wiley is not doing so well. He has significant barriers, several unmet service needs, and relatively few strengths. So his total overall score came to -15.9. Now this is not something to be alarmed about and is often the case for people early in their recovery journey, but we really need to address these areas as soon as possible. The first section reviews the quality of life and satisfaction measures. And this uses 5 brief measures of health and well-being to get a global sense of how people feel in that day. The figure of 38% that you can see here is the sum of Wiley's 5 ratings out of 20. None of them are high, so none of the bars are green. 3 of them are moderate, and as you can see here, there's 2, quality of life and accommodation, that are a source of concern and in need of attention for Wiley's recovery journey. The next section deals with barriers to recovery, or recovery barriers, and there are 5 areas which are measured here. Unstable accommodation, substance use, risk-taking, offending and other involvement with the criminal justice system, and lack of employment and training. The goal is to see whether or not there are areas of acute problems, such as housing instability, ongoing drug or alcohol use, involvement with the criminal justice system, or lack of any kind of meaningful activities. That would stop people from moving on with their recovery journey. The evidence suggests that it is very difficult to grow strengths while these acute problems persist. So the goal is to address these needs urgently, which may involve new or different engagement with some of the specialist support services we'll outline in the next section. For now, you can see that Wiley has 4 barriers to recovery that need to be addressed immediately. Each of these bars allows the user to click on it and review the detailed responses the client gave, which then scored it in either red, amber, or green. The next section deals with service involvement and needs. Now, this further examines potential barriers to stable recovery that come from ongoing specialist help needs in a wider range of areas that extend the list of potential problem areas. This section is designed with 3 columns that assess whether or not a client is currently engaged in any selection of services, is satisfied with the support that they are receiving in the selected areas, and whether or not they need additional help. Crucially, this section is going to tell you 2 things: what ongoing professional support the person is involved with, and whether or not they need additional professional support and help. It is where there are unmet needs that there is an immediate need to respond by supporting that person to access the kinds of help that they think are either not being addressed or not being addressed sufficiently by other professionals. The recovery navigator's role is to support engagement with the relevant resources and may involve things like providing contact details, arranging an additional appointment, helping to prepare the person to engage with that service, and so on. We can see from Wiley's responses that he's not involved in but wants additional help in several areas. Now, recovery navigators or recovery coaches or peers are going to work with the client to understand these results and put together a recovery plan. This recovery plan should help to address the barriers and unmet service needs. And the recovery plan is composed of goals, resources, and events. So we really need to take the time to source local events that your clients can attend in the community. Now, most of you already know about events in your community, such as mutual aid groups, wellness events, educational events, maybe even sports and recreation events. Now we just get to add these into the system for the client to choose which ones they'd like to attend, which will then be as part of their recovery plan. Engagement in events and things to do that are fun with other people in recovery or with people that share common values is very important, especially in early recovery. So in the next video, we're going to show you how to open up these goals and how to add the events into the system.